Get up recorded. Okay, so hello everybody. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know, but hi, nice to be with you today. And my first slide is sort of something you all know, right? We're all in a really hyperactive, hyper competitive environment right now. And firms are scrambling to hire, recruiters are racing to fill jobs. But this hyperactivity means now more than ever, a recruiter really has to stand out, right? To get their submissions to the firm noticed and to get candidates to pick up the phone and listen to them, they really have to stand out from the pack to do that. And we're going to go over today some ways that you can do that. Right now, speaking to that environment, we have over 11,000 jobs in our job program. It's insane. Normally, 2 years ago, it was between 6,000 and 7,000. Now it's over 11,000. In the US, it's almost at 9,500, and it just keeps climbing. We were thrilled when it reached 10,000, and now it's over 11. It's going to go even higher. So there's proof of that environment. More proof is how many laterals have already been placed this year, and that number is higher than past years. Just last week, that number was 10,462 since I first put this together, and now it's jumped up again. So if you needed more evidence, this is a crazy environment, we have it. And as that competitive environment continues, successful recruiters are going to have to stand apart from the rest, right? With so many submissions, how do you get yours seen? Attorneys are getting bombarded with emails and phone calls. It's just become noise to them. So how do you break through that noise? How do you continue to develop business and relationships in a pipeline? Look, once this dust settles on this frenzied hiring environment, firms are going to care about who they've hired. Were they a successful hire? Did they fit in with the firm? And what recruiters served us well and what recruiters did not? And candidates, they may be looking to form a long-term relationship where you're their career advisor. You can advise them on their goals and how to get there. In other words, those recruiters who develop relationships, share knowledge, and partner with the firm and their candidate will be set apart. We've been meeting with a lot of law firms, and we have heard a lot of stories from both large law firms and small law firms, complaints that recruiters are hiking up their fees, and that some recruiters are charging what the firms consider to be a bounty for diverse hires. I've heard a lot of anger coming from some of those law firm recruiters about who they feel is just taking advantage of the situation. And of course, they're not too happy about attorneys leaving their firms because they're being pulled away by recruiters. So it's that traditional love-hate relationship that recruiters have with law firms, right? Recruiters who think strategically will protect their law firm relationships while continuing to deliver really top talent and maintaining ethical principles. And this is where NALSC members are really going to stand apart, right? Hires with a really bad ROI and boomerang hires. It's going to hurt other recruiters in the long run if there's bad actors out there that are just filing, placing as many as possible without delivering real value. And clients want value. And that doesn't mean discount. Value doesn't mean a discount. It means a value deeper than just a transaction. If your placement is just a one and done deal, you can be replaced forever on the next search that firm has, right? If that's all you've done, anybody can do that. Anybody can do a simple transaction. But if you prove your value beyond a simple transaction, real proper vetting of the candidates, understanding who succeeds in that firm, and sharing industry knowledge, well, then you'll be a proven partner and you can build those long-term relationships that you're going to need once this frenetic hiring calms down. We've also heard recruiters, if you were on our last in-house counsel webinar, they're turning away work because they know if they take it, they would be delivering a lower level of service. And that's not what they want to do. That's not who they want to be. And that is really long-term thinking. So how to provide value beyond the transaction. Keep yourself and your clients up to date on important changes, in their competitors or their target firms. And you can share some of that information that your firm clients might have missed. Our Firmscape Alerts are great about knowing office openings and closings, lateral moves, changes in a growth decline score, promotions, changes in salary, all that important industry stuff we deliver right to your inbox every Wednesday and Friday morning, and you can share that information with the law firms that you work with, and they're going to really appreciate that. You can use our probability of move feature like you do in the Leopard list, marry it with that tenure filter to find those candidates who are really highly likely to move. We use our AI on top of all of the attorney history that we're putting together for 20 years. Add it to the logic of the tenure filter, and you found a good group whose likelihood to move is very high. Now, if you're working with a law firm, run that law firm, and you can see who within that law firm has that high probability of move or that very high. Let them know who they are so they can play some defense with those candidates, because people are calling them, people are reaching out. The firm should know that so they can try to retain those people if that makes sense for them. Going into our growth decline report, right? Who is growing, who is not? Now, as a recruiter, you can easily, we know you do it. You approach candidates in those firms that the growth decline report is going down, right? You work to get them into a firm that's on the upswing and really growing. That's a great story to tell. Firms that aren't moving or they're declining, they should really see where they rank against their peers. But they can also find some bright spots to talk about, right? A firm might be declining overall, but they could be growing in their New York office by a great extent. A recruiter partner could outline that narrative for them. Growth and decline is never even. There will always be bright spots, even in firms that are struggling to maintain their headcount. So at the very least, their priorities will be clear, and that could be used as a narrative to attract talent. And you can share that information with them. So last year, we decided to add diversity to our data. And firms are actively working to hire attorneys who are traditionally underrepresented in law firms, and they need help to find those candidates. So we took that step last year to include diversity for the very first time. It was important for us to do. We're a woman-owned business. We're a very diverse company. And after the summer of George Floyd, we said, this is it. This is it. If there was ever a time to do it, this is it. It took time, it took money, and it took a lot of effort. But we really see that it's delivering, because we do see an increase in diversity hiring. May not have changed the overall total because all hiring is up, but we think it's making a difference. And we're not charging an extra fee for this. We made that investment because it was the right thing to do. And we're making this available to help move that needle in the right direction. So just to be clear, we are not determining ethnicity. We are not marking the records in any way. We're simply grouping attorneys who have a high probability of being diverse after cataloging all the evidence from many different factors. And you can run a search, and then you can see who has a high probability of being diverse with just one click. So to protect this data, we took a page out of the Mansfield Rule Playbook, right? And we have our own diversity pledge that clients must sign in order to have access to this filter. Again, we're not charging for this filter, but we do ask that clients use it in the right way, which is to include these attorneys, not to exclude them. So we set up our pledge, you sign it, all the recruiters that work for you sign it, and then you can access that diversity data. Because our diversity data is in all of our reports, as well as the Leopard list, right? So you can actually go into our growth decline report and you can see who is hiring the most women litigators, who is hiring the most ethnically diverse litigators, right? All of this can make really compelling stories for your candidates and also give you information that you can share with your law firm clients. This is a really super cool tool. This is part of the Leopard BI, which we started creating last summer, and we've sort of been rolling out a report almost, once a month. So we're doing a lot of work over there right now. So if you are, proposing an acquisition to a law firm, you can use this tool to quickly find possible candidates. Just put in, I'm looking for an IP firm in Boston and Atlanta. All of your choices come up down below. Click a button, it marries it, and it tells you, here's how well we think this merger might do. And here's where your problem areas might be. Your target firm has a really outsized diversity number in comparison to your firm. Your target firm has no women, and you have a lot of women at your firm. This is a client list we've been able to put together. These are their financials. We do all the hard work for you. They don't have to know that. You can just show them the report and say, here are your choices. And here's what we, at first blush, here's what we think will be your best target. So that is in our BI suite. So this is in our Firmscape report area. This is the firm entrance and exit report. And this report gives a grade to a firm's recruitment efforts. At its default setting, it just looks past, at the last 12 months. You can go back further. You can go back as many years as you need to go back. But when you look for that immediate 12 months, right, it really shows you how well their recent recruitment efforts has been, because at that 12-month mark, they should all be close to 100%, right? Firms that have a lower score, that means they saw early departures, and those departures can spark opportunity for you. Because when they see those less than success percentages, they might be open to working with someone else so they can gain more value in their recruitment efforts. Use this report to highlight your work and show that your candidates have a great ROI at other firms that you work with. It is both a business development tool and an opportunity to share with them how well they're doing in comparison to others. Another great thing, this report also measures ROI on those entry-level hires. And often that ROI is much lower than those lateral numbers. And then you can suggest to the firm that they might consider hiring more laterals instead of bringing in so many entry-level hires. Now, in our BI suite, our ROI report goes a little more in depth. So here, if you're looking at an individual firm, we're doing a few things. One, we show you how much money we think they lost on their recruitment efforts. Right now we're looking at laterals. You can look at all hires. You can look at entry-level hires, but putting that money figure on there will help get things noticed if you're trying to say, I can do better for you. We also go through many different factors about ROI at the firm. We look at each type individually. Do they do well with partner recruitment? Terrible with associate? Is it back and forth? You can look at locations, you can look at practices. And then when you pitch to work with this firm, you've really got some great data to share with them and show them where they have room for improvement and how you might be able to help with that. If you haven't seen our Leopard Law Firm Index, this is also about a year old. Our Law Firm Index was created to provide a real-time look at the health of a law firm. A once-a-year assignment of a score is completely outdated in this fast-paced world. I mean, every year we see firms that they go under, or they merge, they change, yet they're still ranked at the top, was one of the top firms in the country by those once a year lists. We also think that financials do not tell the entire story about firm health. So we've compiled all the data points that we believe speaks to firm strength and weaknesses in an effort to give greater insight into that legal landscape. Having better insight is really essential in planning, forecasting, ensuring success. And this is an ever-changing metric, because that as the firm changes, their score changes, and it can change from week to week. So this is open to the public. Anyone can go see it. If you go right under our resource tab, you can see the Leopard Top 250. And these are the firms that best meet our criteria to go into that Leopard Top 250. But if you are a Leopard client, we have a score for every single firm in our database, which is a great recruitment tool. Firms should also understand, and you should understand, what is behind that score. How did we come to that conclusion, right? So if you go into our BI suite and go to that firm index report, we look point by point for the reasons that they were given that particular score. And there are firms in the traditional top 200 that have scores in our index of poor and fair. And you can see why they were given that score point by point, as well as see them benchmark against their competing firms. And all of that benchmarking over here is also adaptable. So if you want to drop out some firms and add in some other specific firms for that benchmarking, you can do that. So it is a great tool for both candidates and law firms when you talk to them. And I also want to make sure you are aware of our webinar series. This is something within the last 6 months that has really taken off. We're doing some really great webinars where we are sharing some data. We're bringing in experts from across the spectrum to come in and talk about really great things like the long road to partnership for women, diversity hiring, where have we been, where are we now? There's lots of great stuff, and it's all free. All you have to do is just come and sign up for an event. You can even find most of these, I think, on our YouTube page. We're here to spread the wealth of knowledge and to share some data, get conversation going, and make sure that we're opening up sort of the information flow to both recruiters and to law firms. And we invite you to join us. And now I am going to turn this over to Phil, who's going to show you some of this in the wild, so to speak.
All right. And I just dropped, while you were just talking about that, Laura, I just dropped links in the chat for folks to sign up for our newsletter, so that you can stay up to speed on all the new thought leadership that we put out and the upcoming webinars and everything like that. And I also dropped a link in there for our YouTube channel for those folks that want to view some of the past ones that we've done. Now, I know we have about 5 or so minutes, so I'm going to try and run through some things here. I'm going to focus in mostly on the Firmscape and Leopard BI modules, because these are our consultative services, right? These are the tools that recruiters can use to project yourself as a thought leader, project yourself as providing the consultative services as opposed to the transactional services that Laura was talking about. I think at the end of the day, understanding what's happening in the market, understanding what's happening with firms, and understanding what's happening, why a candidate would leave, and obtaining all that information and seeing what's going on and where those opportunities are could really help, as Laura, as you said, stand out against your peers. There's over 11,000 active jobs. There's jobs opening and closing every day. Everyone, I'm sure everyone's familiar with their job search. Everyone's familiar with Leopard List. You can go in there, you can find the candidates, you can pitch the candidates, but where you're going to stand out is utilizing some of the information in our reports. And that could be, identifying some of the firms that, have been struggling a little bit, that, could be in need of services that you could provide, candidates that you might have from conversations that you have, they're good fits from conversations you've had in the past, and they're in need of individuals that would be good fit for the firm, and the firm would be looking for individuals like that. So, running the growth decline report for the top 200 in the last 12 months, doing a very quick search, you can see the firms that are doing well and the firms that aren't doing as well. And again, seeing, taking a look at a firm, diving into the firm report for that firm, setting up those alerts that you had talked about, Laura, anytime they're opening offices, changes in their laterals, they're hiring, promotions, folks that, were 7-8 year associates that didn't get promoted, would be potential individuals that, might be looking for a move. There's different ways that you can utilize this information to really help present the information to either the candidate or the firm that you're talking to, or even again, reach out to the firm that is struggling and potentially in need of your services. And you can see the diversity information related for the firm, how the practice area and office location breakdowns are, where those individuals are coming from that are going to the firm, and where they're losing people, and where they're going. And then also all the information, news information, client information, just general awareness of what's happening at a law firm. You can have all this information at the ready as you're having a conversation, and talking to, again, the candidate or the firm themselves. In our Leopard BI tool, then this is our tool that could be used for a variety of reasons. It could be used for business development, consultative services. You can talk to a firm about potential opportunities to grow via merger or acquisition. There's many ways of growth. Merger and acquisition obviously being one way. Maybe you're looking for growth. Maybe you can talk to them about potential opportunities to grow in other markets, with firms of particular size, and that you can run that, and then you'll be able to get a list of potential candidate firms that could be good matches for the firm that you're looking at. Then you can reach out, have a conversation about, have you thought about a potential, have you looking to make inroads in Chicago? You did some analysis and you saw they picked up some laterals in a certain market or a certain practice in that region. So, did you know there's some firms that, potentially would be, a good match based on the practice areas and the location. This is a litigation firm. Boise is a litigation firm. Chicago, they're down 21% over the last year. Could be a potential match for the firm for growth, via, again, merger or acquisition potential. And what we're trying to uncover are, in the conversation that you could have with the firm, are the potential risks that a combination like this would present by having the two firms combined. Potential for attrition when the firms merge, information related to their demographics, both gender, ethnic diversity, differentials between the two firms, school breakdown, JD breakdown between the two firms. All that information is available to you to present as you're having your conversation and talking to them about, again, a potential merger and acquisition.
Okay. That's a highly unlikely combination.
Yeah. It probably won't be an effective one, but you never know. You just never know. So, good. And and there's going to be, and you talked about the Leopard BI. I think one of the additional tools that's coming up down the road, we have a number of connection related reports, looking at all the information based on all the data that we've collected for the last 20 years on these individuals and these firms. Showing the historical connections they have based on experience and education and all the number of ways individuals are connected with other folks. And we're going to have a third one that's going to be very geared towards lateral hiring. Take a firm, take an individual, show all the different connections between that firm and that individual, so that if you want to reach out to the partnership and see the relationships and see if there's a way to reach out to those individuals, it's a great way for you guys, again, to kind of make some, relationships and some, again, hey, did you know your head of corporate practice would know this person very well, so they should reach out and have a conversation. So it just
or convince a candidate, a lot of people at this firm. Did you know that somebody that you worked with 2 years ago is working at this firm now? It's a great icebreaker and a way to kind of stand apart from the pack. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I know we're kind of right at the end. So just to wrap up, I did drop a couple of those, like I said, links in the chat for you guys to sign up for our newsletter and our YouTube webinars that we've done. Just, again, we want to leave it with, this, we're here to help our clients. We've listened to our clients for many, many years. A lot of the products and the research that we present is based on conversations we've had, not only with recruiters, but with law firms and other individuals and organizations in the industry, consultants as well. Reach out to us. We're happy to have conversations like this. Not only do we give you access to the database, you have access to us as well. So keep that in mind as you're looking for guidance on how to better use the product, if for our current subscribers.
That's right.
Well.
We're a full service team, and support is just a phone call or an email away, and that's part of your subscription. We want you to know how to use it and feel comfortable with it, along with all of the people that you work with. So that is our commitment to all of our customers.
Absolutely. All righty. Let's look if we have any questions. I think we're right at our time limit. So I appreciate everyone, and hope everyone enjoys the rest of the conference.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you all. Bye.
Take care.